Hello, good morning. Welcome to Veera's Voice. There was a lot of request asking me to put videos in English. Why I switched over to Tamil was because there was a large number of audience from the remote areas who didn't have access to many of the information. I thought it was useful, and it was useful also. Many of them regarding tractor loan, farm loans, KCC, and other dairy loans, they have started interacting with me. But many of the comrades throughout the country requested that I should put a related video in English also, which is not specific to the local thing. So I am trying to do that, and my time constant is there. In spite of that, I am very happy to share this information. Today we will talk about, today Finance Minister has told why bankers are shying away from giving loans. A very good question, very thought-provoking question, and she has told that in the presence of CBI director that any genuine decision will be upheld. Last week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he gave a very bold statement telling that all bona fide decisions will be upheld and there should not be any fear in giving loans. A very welcome view, and it has to be appreciated that the government has understood, at last understood the real crux of the problem, why credit is not picking with bankers. All this happened because we have a CVC, because now the three C's they are saying, CBI, CVC and CIG. But previously it was another C, 3C, creditworthiness, commercial viability and character. All this determined in giving a loan. Today, what has happened is because of this overactive of vigilance, managers, they tend to refer to vigilance manual before giving a loan rather than referring to a loan policy document. This fear, because many young people have come, they wanted to grow up in the cadre, they want to have a safe job, they quit many of the IT company jobs and other lucrative jobs. Even many of the people working in many high-end jobs, they have come to banking industry because they have got an attachment, and it is a service industry, and there is security of job. Many of the girls, they have migrated from IT industry to this. But what has happened here is because of this fear psychosis, lending has come down. In banks, especially in public sector banks, staff accountability is a very big dagger hanging over the head of the managers and officers. They tend to play very productive, and the vigilance manual is such that it is adopted from what is applicable to central government or state government or CPWD to the banks. It is not like that, because in CPWD or central government, most of the things are on procurement where a L loan is applied. But in banks, you have to take commercial decisions which may deviate from the laid down procedure, because you have to take a judgment where it will not affect the interest of the bank at a given point of time. You take a decision 5 years back, and another 5 years later, a policeman comes and he can see why you did this is because at that time, when the circumstances were there, you took a decision, bankers take a decision, and when the climate changes, when policy changes, when a lot of scams have happened, all these things will affect the viability of the project, and ultimately it will become an NPA. When staff accountability crops up, only when it becomes an NPA, because here you have to see the judgment, because any loan, even if it is given with a deviation and it is successful, it is not a failure and it is closed, no action is taken. But a loan with a slight deviation is given, it is viable, it is running for 5 years, 6 years, and in the 7th year it becomes non-viable because of policy changes or other external factors. Again, staff lapses comes in and officers are held responsible. This is the reason why bankers have shied away. And apart from this, there had been an invisible hand, because government till date, it dictates the appointment of top brass of the public sector banks up to the level of ED. And even in GM promotion, the directors of RBI and finance minister, they play a vital role. So it is natural that the people sitting at the top, they have to obey the orders of the finance ministry as well as RBI. Circulars come day in, day out. Though they say it is autonomy of the banks, there is no such autonomy in that. After finance minister's statement, I refer to a very senior trade union leader asking whether this has been implemented in the banks. But he was very regretful to say that the advice of internal advisory committee, this is a committee formed within each bank which goes into any default and decides whether it is a vigilance or non-vigilance. The advice of the internal advisory committee is not taken by the CVC or the local vigilance department. They have their own ruling and they try to deviate from what the recommendation is done. So whatever finance minister or prime minister has told, it should be implemented through way of circulars or notification. Only then there will be confidence in the people. See, any decision, because we take a decision every day, even in our house, even regarding our children, regarding our parents, regarding our properties, regarding our car, some of the decisions may go wrong. We do with the intention that it should be good for everything, but some of the decisions go wrong. Any decision taken at any point of time with the inputs available at that time, if it is genuine, the officers or managers should not be held responsible. This should be the basic, because many people have entered the banking industry, and the staff accountability policy now is so harsh that any account becoming an NPA, it should be investigated for stock accountability and somebody should be fixed. If you say there is no stock accountability, nobody accepts that. And when any fraud happens, even with the collusion of, without the knowledge of the managers, with the involvement of outsiders, the name of the branch managers and officers are also included as per the Preventive of Corruption Act, telling that officers unknown name, it is filed in the FAR like that, and in a future date all these names are coming out. So this is the thing was that happened, telling the CBI director in the presence of the CBI director is not going to solve the issues unless you give notifications, you give circulars, and this is percolated down to the every level, and bona fide decision should be upheld and malified decision should be punished. This has been the mantra we have been hearing from many people, including successive finance ministers as well as chairman of the bank, regional heads of the banks, zonal heads of the bank, telling bona fide decision will be upheld. But what is bona fide and what is malified, it is a very big question. So unless all these things are acted, today report on fraud also come up. It is very misleading. They are comparing public sector banks with private sector banks, but you cannot compare an apple with an orange, because vigilance manager is operative only in public sector banks, not in private sector banks. Deviation, a failure, which is considered as a deviation of procedure lapse in a private sector bank, is considered as a vigilance issue in a public sector banks, because the vigilance manuals are so harsh that any failure, somebody should be fixed. So it is right. I mean, the only appreciable thing with this government is either Prime Minister or Finance Minister or the politicians down, they do not intervene with the credit decision or in settlement of bad loans. Previously, there used to be phone banking, as rightly said, the previous government, they used to influence even loans as well as settlement of NPS. This thing is not happening in this present government. It is a very good thing, and the government is also taking initiative, understanding the problems of the bankers in a right spirit. And only thing what is the missing link is what they think should be in practice. If that comes, probably the days are great for the banking industry, and many of the boys and girls who have come with a lot of aspirations into the banking industry, their aspirations will be also be fulfilled. They are very right-thinking people, and if they are given confidence with such measures, and officer joining within 2-3 years, he gets a explanation or a memo or a charge sheet, he is demoralized at the initial stage itself. And many of the officers, they are missing their promotion because something has happened, not because of them, because of an external force. So all these things should be taken into account, and good days are ahead, and young people, boys and girls, are there to take this public sector bank to greater heights. It is not only infusion of capital that is required, it is infusion of confidence that is required to revive the public sector banks. Kindly share this video. I will try to put these videos in English, whichever issue is related to the entire thing, and give me feedback, give me comments, share this and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.